What's up, guys? My name is Robert Donaldson, and today we are taking a look at a guy who I personally believe is one of the more underrated players in this entire class. Who is that player? His name is Nick Niemann, and he's a former inside off-ball, jack-of-all-trades linebacker for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, why do I think Niemann is so underrated? Well, there are a lot of different reasons, most of which having to do with the fact that, his current projection is as a potential late day 3 selection or even potentially undrafted. However, his game is that of a guy that you could start looking at early on day 3, even late day 2 in my opinion, because he's just that good. Over the course of this draft cycle, Niemann has really started to gain attention, mainly because of the pro day numbers he was able to put out. And I mean, these numbers aren't just run-of-the-mill kind of numbers. Niemann posted an unofficial time in the 3-cone of 6.67, and he also posted an unofficial 40-yard dash time of 4.51. So both of those are putting him in the middle to upper 90th percentile in terms of linebacker prospects since 1999. And with Niemann, he's not just a workout warrior, because it reflects on his tape too. One of the really great things about Niemann is his comfortability in both man and zone coverage, because he's been in that role for nearly his entire career at Iowa, and his fluidity in space combined with good play recognition outside of the box has really made him a pivotal part of Iowa's coverage scheme over the past few years. And to be honest, this is something that really bodes well for a lot of the linebackers that come out of Iowa, especially as of late, because these guys aren't just getting in coverage reps against running backs. They're getting in against slot receivers and athletic tight ends that fit that more, athletic swing tight end kind of mold. And technique-wise, a lot of these Iowa linebackers are pretty well refined and know what they're doing in space. And with Niemann, you can clearly see the extra layer of comfortability. That said, Niemann's athleticism doesn't just shine when he's dropping back in coverage, because in the run game, there are so many instances where you can see Niemann just read a play through, find the ball, and then just hit that extra gear and fly to it. And because of how often he's lining up outside of the box, you can really get a good feel for what his range is out there on the field. Now, all of that said, there are reasons obviously why Niemann is being slotted where he is, and one of those reasons is that against the run, he's just not a natural run fitter, playing in the box. And from time to time, he gets a little too caught up in watching the eye candy in the backfield, and also has those occasional lapses when it comes to just reading a play when he's lined up in the box. And when you're playing in the Big Ten, you're going to see a lot of complex run looks, motions, and exchanges and RPO kind of things. And there were enough examples of him getting caught up in those areas to sort of mark it down as an area of improvement. In addition, although Niemann has a very high motor and a strong looking build for the position, he's not overly long or strong enough to consistently square up and stack against bigger blockers that are working to the second level, which means that there's going to be some plays that he just won't be able to make. In fact, this play right here that you're watching right now, this is a great example, because he makes the correct read and he gets to the right spot, but he just gets overpowered in the hole. And that said, he does do a good job of staying separated and occupying that blocker, which allows his teammates to fill around him. But there are some guys that when put in this exact same position would be able to make this play. In fact, you flip right to the very next play in this game, you see his teammate number 44 put in a very similar position and show you exactly what a guy can possibly do in that spot. Now, although he might not possess the necessary length or power to stack and shed on a consistent basis, he's at least self-aware enough to understand his limitations in those spots, and he's very good at doing the very next best thing that a guy in that position can possibly do, and that is stay within the play and know where your help is. And because he's such a fluid and bendy kind of athlete, sometimes on plays like this, for example, he can turn a bad situation into a great play and a tackle. Overall, when you look at Niemann's body of work, in my opinion, his projections just really don't make sense. If he does end up dropping to the middle of day 3 or late day 3, or even to a point of just being undrafted period, some team is landing amazing value, because they're getting a guy in Niemann who can be an immediate contributor in some regard and even be an eventual starter for a lot of these different teams. You know, is there work to be done with this game? Of course. But when you consider his athleticism, experience, comfortability in man and zone coverage, good overall movement skills, his high motor, and ability to finish tackles and make a play, he is definitely a guy that every team should be targeting on their board. And in my eyes, there aren't many linebackers in this class that I would be slotting over Niemann. Now, is Niemann as hyper instinctive as a guy like Micah Parsons or a Navarro Bowman type or a Luke Kuechly type? No, and that's part of the reason why Niemann might fall a bit lower than he probably should this weekend. That said, there are so many positives to hold your hat on when you watch Niemann play, and if he drops far enough past the third round, some team is going to be getting a talented, highly skilled player who, like I said, could eventually become a cemented starter in their lineup. Once again, I want to thank you all for checking out today's video. You guys have been killing it. You guys are awesome. You know, if you'd like to see more of these in the future or more videos about any other topics, definitely leave a like and make sure you hit subscribe. That said, I will see you all in a future video. Take it easy.